Hi guys, it's Eve Anastasia, whatever you want to call me, and today I'm doing my everyday natural-esque makeup tutorial. Some of you guys have commented that you wanted this, and some of you guys have messaged me, so I'm giving you a non-neon crazy look today. But yeah, I'm always a bit like iffy on posting these kind of videos because I don't know, I'm always like a creative makeup type of person, but you guys wanted it, and I also thought I'd throw in a review to spice this video up a little bit. So I also threw in a review of the Makiage foundation and concealer, and you guys will see what I think of it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video and let's get into it. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've already done my eyebrows. I didn't want to do them on camera because I think it's boring, but what I always use is the Anastasia brow pomade in medium brown, and my favorite eyebrow gel to use is the Boy Brow by Glossier. It's my everyday one because it holds your brow hairs like the most. It gives them the most like fluffy look because my brow hair is always tubed down. I find that this one has the most hold, if that makes sense, although it does make your brows a bit crusty, but who gives a shit. Alright, so for my everyday makeup, I don't actually do that much on the eyes. All I do is throw my bronzer shade or a similar shade in the crease, and then I usually do a little flick, so let's just do that. So I'm taking a pretty big brush and I'm just going to use the bronzer that I'm going to use later to sort of tie the face in together, and that's the Hoola bronzer, and I'm just pretty much blending that all over the eye, focusing it on the crease but also like kind of doing it over the lid a tiny bit. I find that if you don't throw just one shade on the eye, your eyes kind of look undone compared to the rest of the face. Alright, and after that, the reason I'm doing a wing, which I usually wouldn't do, is because I don't have eyelash extensions on, like I do pretty much all the time. So I like to have a bit more drama in my eyes, otherwise I feel like they get lost. Sometimes I'd even put fake lashes on, but for today I'm only going to do a little wing, and I'll do that off camera and be right back. Alright, so I think my lashes are really tiny, so I'm always like a bit insecure of how they look without extensions or falsies, but I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'm going out every day, I do not put anything on, but maybe by the end of the video, if I feel like it, I'll put on some falsies. But now we move on to the main part of this video, which is the face and how basically to help dry skin and how to apply makeup so it lasts. I decided to make this the main part of the video because I've seen loads of YouTube videos about how to help oily skin and makeup for oily skin, but I haven't seen loads of those for dry skin. And I remember when I used to struggle a lot with keeping my makeup on and my makeup going really crusty, I couldn't find many videos, so I thought this would be helpful for you guys and how to get glowy skin even if you have really dry skin. My first tip, and this is the most obvious, is that you have to prepare your skin for makeup. So people with dry skin, do your skincare maybe 30 minutes before, maybe put on a sheet mask, a hydrating sheet mask before. I really like doing that, and that's always when my makeup turns out the best. Basically moisturize your skin a lot, so use a thick moisturizer that you wouldn't put on before makeup, but just put it on 30 minutes before so it already sinks into your skin. Does that make sense? My favorite moisturizer to use at the moment is the Benefit Total Moisture. It's quite cooling, but it's thick at the same time, because I usually don't like thick moisturizers because I don't know, they just feel gross on my skin. But this kind of feels like a gel one, even though it's not, because my favorite moisturizer is a gel. But this feels like it's gel, but it's actually quite a thick moisturizer, and I would really recommend this for dry skin. And now to move on to primers. As you guys know, I love my vitamin enriched face base, so this is what I always use. This is super hydrating, and it's also quite blurring for your skin. I don't know if you'll be able to see on camera, but I definitely see it every time I put this on my face. It also smells amazing. But yeah, this is pretty much a primer that I never skip. Like, this is my favorite primer of all time. It kind of does feel like an extra step to your skincare, which I love. Alright, so next is another primer that I use, and I've been testing this out recently and I really love it. It's the Mcgrath Lab Skin Fetish Primer. This also feels quite cooling. It says it's a perfecting primer, so I imagine it's meant to blur pores, but I love this because it's so hydrating and lightweight, and this smells amazing. I've really been loving using the combination of these. I've only been trying this out for a little while, but I've liked how my makeup turned out with it, so yeah, it's kind of become my everyday. Alright, so as you guys know, I wanted to review this foundation for this video, but I thought just in case I'd tell you my favorites to use on an everyday basis if this one doesn't turn out well. So, alright, so my favorites to use usually is the Nars Sheer Glow foundation. This is a really good one, and I wouldn't say it's that glowy. I always thought this foundation was more glowy, but it's not. But this one's a really good one for every day. This is one I like to use when I want more coverage, but it's really, really good for dry skin. So this is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation Stick. This is one of my all-time favorites. And then also the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation is amazing. So those are my top 3 that I would usually use if I wasn't testing this out, if that makes sense. So I don't know if this foundation has been popping out for you guys, but it's been all over my Instagram for a couple of weeks now, and I was like, oh, I might as well give it a shot. It's meant to be like you take a quiz for this and they match you, so they send you a shade that matches your quiz. You basically have to pick out girls that look like you, like your shade match. Okay, this pump is really irritating. I'm using it without the pump. I can't be bothered. I mean, I think that's pretty good. It matched me better than I matched myself online, that's what I'm gonna say. I think I might have used way too much, but we'll see. In this quiz, you also like pick what finish you like, what coverage you like. I said coverage light to medium. Although I would say this is quite high coverage, but I think I've also put a shit ton on. So. And you also pick a finish, and I picked natural glowy. I mean, honestly, I'm really impressed with the shade match. It might be a tiny bit dark. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked. This is super pretty. Like, I really like this foundation. I wouldn't say it's light to medium coverage though. This is really good. This retails for £36, by the way. But I'm impressed, I'm not gonna lie. This step is also key for me because I don't know if this applies to dry skin or just my eyes, but I crease a lot under the eye, and this is something that I love to use. This is the Becca Eye Brightening Corrector. I just take this on with a small buffing brush. And this is also quite a sticky formula, so I think it makes your foundation your concealer, it makes it last a lot longer. Because it's so brightening, but not obvious, like it's not like a red concealer that everyone uses. You don't have to use as much foundation, like you can see the difference between the two eyes, like that's a lot lifted already. But you do have to use a product on top of it because it does leave a bit of a weird shine. Okay, and after I blend that in, I also like just to dab on top of it with my beauty blender. Anyway, this is a new find for me. This is by Terry, and it's the lip treatment, I think. This is basically what I apply throughout me doing my makeup. It's very moisturizing, and it's basically kind of like a lip balm, but it feels a bit more oily than that. Anyway, moving on to concealer, I'm going to use the Makiage concealer. This is a concealer that they match for me with my foundation, so I like the name. It's called Fuck I'm Flawless. And by the way, my usual everyday concealer is the Laura Mercier concealer. What's this called? The Flawless Fusion Concealer in the shade N1. It's a bit darker than I would usually go for. Oh, by the way, update on the foundation. It is coming out quite matte now. It's drying quite matte, but still it looks really good. I'm pretty impressed. Like I feel like every time you see something on Instagram, it doesn't actually turn out that good, but I'm impressed. This is a massive tip for people with dry skin and whose under eye crease. Put your concealer here instead of right up close to your eye, and blend that concealer up into your eye instead of putting loads underneath, because then it creases so much more. Okay, and now to the biggest tip of this whole video. People with dry skin, I think anyone really, do not bake anywhere. And actually don't use loose powder anywhere apart from under your eyes. So because my under eyes crease a lot, I use the Pro Filter powder from Fenty in shade Butter, and I set the under eye straight away because that's where I crease the most. So I don't bake, I just use the loose powder under my eyes because that's what helps me not crease, but I don't really put it anywhere else. Alright, so for the rest of my face, and I only do this because I don't want my makeup to like transfer onto my shirt or anything, and I also want my bronzer and everything to go on top really smoothly. So I take a big brush, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, and I use just a tiny bit of this and dab it all over my face. I don't really set it like properly, if that makes sense, but I just do this so the rest of my skin products go on smoothly, and so my makeup doesn't transfer like all over my shirt and stuff. Right, so I am a very pale girl if I don't fake tan, so I love to bronze my face. And what I usually use is the Hoola bronzer. And you can see, because I have the same shade in my crease, this really ties in the face. Again, an update on the foundation. I'm loving it. I think this will become my everyday foundation. Actually, I don't know if it will, because it is quite a high coverage for me, but it's like my skin looks really good, like really good, and looks really smooth, which is very unusual for my skin. I know you guys can't see on camera, but I have quite a lot of texture on my forehead. That's what I got when I started my puberty. They're not spots, they're not blackheads, they're like little white heads all over my forehead. So alright, now moving on to blush. This is one of my favorite blushes to use. I know I've been using the Nars palette for a lot of my videos, but this is the Rocketship blush by Benefit. I heard this tip from a makeup artist, but you know the usual smile and put your blush on? Don't do that, because if you notice, when you smile, your cheekbones here, but when you stop smiling, your finger droops down. So if you put your blush on this bit, you'll actually droop your face down. And blush actually adds a lot of sculpture, a lot of shape, definition to your face. So where I like putting it to lift my face is mostly up here, and then bringing it a tiny bit on the apples of my cheeks. And then I also love putting it on my nose, I don't know why. Right, and now to bring that shine back to my face, one of my favorite setters is the Dewy Set from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I legit drench my face in this. And again, this is what I really recommend for people with dry skin. Drench your face in setting spray. I don't know if it makes your makeup last longer or not, but it really takes the cakiness away from your face. Like, you can see how much, like, obviously it hasn't completely dried yet, but my skin looks so much more like skin now. Alright, and when it's almost dry, and this is my favorite tip for highlighter, take your highlighter brush, spray it a tiny bit with your setting spray, make sure your face is a tiny bit wet, then take your highlighter. This is the Anastasia highlighter in Beyond Powder. It's a really good highlighter, and I recommend taking a big brush because then it looks like more of a glaze instead of a line. And I just put that on my cheekbone. Alright, and now for my inner corner, I like to again spray my brush and then take the same highlighter that I used and then just put that on the inner corner to add a bit of brightness to the eye. Right, and now it's time for the lips, so I'm just going to use my usual nude lip liner, which is the Dose of Colors lip liner in Undressed. Alright, and this is the lip color that everyone says looks the best on me. Every time I put it on, people love it. So this is On Mute Liquid Lipstick by Anastasia. And then before that dries, in the center of that, I'm putting Milkshake by Anastasia to just line the center. It is kind of like that really cold nude shade, but everyone says they really like it on me, so. Alright guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed something a bit more natural on my channel. I know a couple of you guys wanted it, so my final thoughts on the Il Makiage products. The foundation I love, and it's gonna be in my everyday makeup collection. Like, this is honestly really good. I love the finish, I love how my makeup applied on top of it, like I love how my skin looks. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I honestly really recommend, and my skin match, they actually got on pretty spot on. In terms of the concealer, I honestly, again, love how it looks, but I always need a bit more time with concealers to see how they crease throughout the day, so I will leave an update in the description box or maybe somewhere on the screen here on how I feel about it. But first impressions, really good. Again, the shade is pretty good, although I'd like it to be a bit lighter. But yeah, in general, I'm very impressed with the brand. The price is a bit expensive, $36 and $24, but I mean, it's just like middle-end makeup, and this is one of the best foundations and concealers that I've tried so far, so I'd say it's worth your money. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too boring. I don't know, I always feel a bit weird posting a really natural makeup tutorial, but it is what some of you guys wanted, so yeah. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I'll leave that down below. Subscribe, like, do whatever the fuck you want to do, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.